Hello, this is Charlotte. I'm a transformational health practitioner, and today we're going to start day one of detoxing the soul slash breaking the chains. Um, so, um, if you want to book personal time with me, just go to the website. This is kind of related to childhood healing stuff. So, no big deal. But day one, we're going to make a list of everything emotional that has been you've been wearing inside, but we're gonna physically wear it on the outside. So I will do another video specifically on what to do, but today we're just gonna start with a list on a piece of paper, and we're gonna go through all the emotions. I got my notes here. And this has to do with childhood trauma, things you went through in your life of trauma, uh, death, and all the attachment with the emotions with them. This is a big overview of all those emotions that you felt inside of you that you've been carrying, but we're going to put them on the outside. And when we're done with this in about 10 days or so, 10 to 12 days, depends, we are going to burn it all and let it all go. And then I'm going to backfill you guys full of love and peace of mind. And because today, one, we're going to go over the emotions. And then tomorrow, we're going to go over all the mental things. And then we're going to go all the physical things you want to get rid of. And then on day 4, I skipped a page. We will do all the spiritual things, all the dogma, energies in the church, spiritual communities, all those things. I'm going to hit both just because there's devils in the churches and there's people that do black magic as well as love and light. Or they say it's love and light, but they're doing dark. So we're going to go over everything spiritual. And then on the last day, we're going to go over energies of people, places, things, how there's a constant repetitiveness of energies that show up in your life. And then we're going to add that to the list as well. But today we're going to start with a piece of paper tomorrow, and then I'll be back later to show you how to transfer it to the cloth that you're going to wear, underwear, bra, your choice. I have a few girls that prefer the underwear. This is for men and women, doesn't matter. Everybody's human. Everybody has feelings. Everybody has things they need to deal with. So that's the overview of the 5 days. I will kind of go over a few other things within each day. So anyways, emotions, and we're talking like depression, anxiety, guilt, shame, but I'm going to get a little bit more specific with those issues. um, uh, so I'm just going to read a list of, there's a lot of attachment, there's a lot of emotions attached with this, but when I say it, I'm going to also kind of clear it for you. So it doesn't matter when you watch this, because that's what I do. I'm a health practitioner, transformational. So if you deal with abandonment, betrayal, lost, love unreceived, efforts unreceived, heartache, insecurity, overjoy, vulnerability. I mean, write all these down. If anything hits, slow the video down, do what you need to do. Because all these are attached somewhere in you. If I say the name, if I say the word, and then it's like, ugh, then that's something you need to write down. We're going to go deeper in it, obviously. Anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry, failure, helplessness, hopelessness, lack of control, low self esteem, I'm trying to slow down on this list because I'm just getting like bombarded with a lot. So I'm feeling the energy of it. So I'm going to sweep it. Crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, sorrow. And that goes with death and grief is sorrow. Confusion, defensiveness, grief, there again, self abuse, stubbornness, anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred. And it can be hatred for self, like you're pissed off at yourself for not doing something right. Resentment, depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, being taken for granted. You know, all these things, every one of us deals with at least one of these things. Clear that. But I want you to write it down on a piece of paper to start with, to get it down, because then you can go deeper with I'm sad and it's, you know, this. And let me grab my other piece of paper here. I may have to put on my glasses. Yup. Maybe not. So, you know, skepticism, irritable. I'll read some more here in a minute. But whatever comes up for you, I want you to write that. I don't want you just to write what I'm saying, because they're your feelings, they're your issues, and we're going to deal with your stuff. So when I say something and it brings up something else, then write that as well. These are yours, personal to you. Nobody's going to see this but you. So we'll continue. Blaming, dread, fear, horror, peeved, conflict, creative insecurity, terrors, night terrors, unsupported, wishy-washy in your decisions. That's all part of this. Oh, I'm going to read a few more. Humiliation, jealousy, longing, lust, overwhelm, pride, shame, shock, unworthy, worthlessness. These are just like I'm saying the big words to, and not big words in a sense that, you know, they're not talkable. It's just and then see where it comes up in your body, where you feel it. Because that's going to be a good trigger point. Sorry, I'm trying to find my glasses. There they are. I'm always on the go, so they were in my bag to go. So, any which case, you know, there's some, I have to have readers. So you could be let down, which is an underlining of betrayal and resentment, humiliated, disrespected, ridiculed, bitter, indignant, and violated, mad, furious, jealous, aggressive, provoked, hostile, frustrated, infuriated, annoyed. So another one is like distant, and you're withdrawn and numb and critical, skeptical, dismissive. You know, just look at your life and where any of these show up. Disapproving, judgmental, embarrassed, and disapproving. Others disapprove of you. So you feel judged, and then you feel embarrassed because of the judgment, disappointed. You know, you're appalled and you're revolted. Awful. If you feel awful about yourself, you're going to feel nauseated and detestable. Like you're just not going to be happy. Repelled, horrified, hesitant, hurt, embarrassed, disappointed, depression, inferior, empty, lonely, isolated, abandoned, Abandoned is like a whole bunch of different feelings. Vulnerable, victimized, fragile, and then in turn makes you feel vulnerable. Grief, powerless, despair, ashamed, resentful, remorseful. It's guilt. So, and if you're fearful, because there's angry and disgust and sad, I'm just pulling off a wheel of emotions. And fearful, you're scared, but you're helpless and frightened, overwhelmed and worried. It's with anxiousness, inadequate, inferior, insecure, worthless, insignificant. You feel weak, excluded, persecuted. You feel rejected, nervous, exposed. You feel threatened, So I just, you may have to pause this a few times just because there's a lot. But I want you to sit with it, and I really want you to write it out. And this is anywhere that you have felt this in your life, as a child, and going through losing somebody, the guilt, the shame of not showing up or not being there, and the in turn, what the big word is with death is regret. You didn't get to, you didn't this, that, and the other. So then it shows up in guilt, and then it shows up in anger in different ways. And once you start processing those emotions, it changes the thing. And if it's about death, it changes to an acceptance in a sense. Because that's why we hang on to grief so long, is because of the regret. Childhood trauma. For me, yeah, I dealt with it my whole life. Recently, I'm kind of like, wow, okay. So, and when I went through this process, part of me was like, I was living in a fog, but I was still on my true path, and there were still people that were true, even though the context around things was all foggy, just because of this overlaying, like this cloud over my head, in a sense, I guess you could call it. Because when I realized what the core was, which was abuse by my mother, that every time I shined, every time I spoke, every time, I got beat. So it shut me down. And it shut me down in a lot of ways. Childhood trauma goes real deep, mother and father. My dad was there, he called me pumpkin, but he was not accepting. And then he was gone. And that has a whole thing to do with in itself, but it's still childhood trauma. And then I noticed through my life, the relationships of people. There was one or two people in my life throughout my life, like 30 plus years ago to now, they didn't necessarily leave, but they were in and out of my life. But I don't know, they were truer than the everybody I collected along the way, because I realized, and we'll go through this with energies as well, is my ex-husband and my mother were the same energy. They just presented themselves differently, but the verdict was the same. And then I realized, with the ongoing of a repetitiveness in my life of the people that were coming in to what they were doing, is literally trying to kill me. And there was a few along the way that did never try to kill me. No, it wasn't. There was some distortedness in it, but they never tried. The spirit of that person was not trying to kill my spirit. Let's put it that way. So, as you go through this list, I want you to feel it through your body, like figure out where it is exactly. It could be a chakra block. It could be an organ that needs repaired or healed. That's more one-on-one sessions with me. I can't do that necessarily on a live or on a YouTube video, because that's very personal. And that's like my childhood trauma, or childhood clearing is one-on-one only, because it is so deep that, and you're so vulnerable because it is exposing the depths of something that happened when you were young. So that is day one. And I want you to just write out every emotion, and then we will, put it all together. But just sit with everything right now, just write it all down. I'll be back in a minute to show you how to transfer from paper to the cloth and the cutting and, pinning on. I'm going to just demonstrate on my bra because I'm not going to show you on my panties, but obviously on your underwear. This is for men and women. This is not just for women. That is a big societal thing, which I'm going to cover in spirituality, is the society of things of you have to be. And like, I went and apologized to my son of like, hey, dude, I was wrong to tell you don't cry. You're human. You have feelings. And if you feel like crying, do it. It's only for a moment. Yes, you may have an ugly cry. Every time I have an ugly cry, I have epiphanies. So ugly cries ain't bad. It moves the energy to move you forward. So I'll be back. I will put my website in the comments to how to book time with me. If you are interested in the one-on-one work, so it will be in the comments, and you can just click the comments and it'll take you there, or somewhere here on the page of going to the website as well. But I put in the comments. I will speak correctly one day. But again, my name is Charlotte, and I am a transformational health practitioner. So I will see you in the comments or when you book one-on-one. Thanks. Bye.